Sanctification is the idea that the more we follow Jesus, the more we are transformed into what we're created to be, and that's made in the image of God, right? So the more we obey Jesus, the more we will become like him, is the way we say it. So, and that would be called sanctification. But that's not saying, and I don't think you're saying this, but it's what I believed when I first came to Jesus and I was baptized. I'm like, oh, good, all the sin is gone. I'm not going to sin anymore. Whew! And I was baptized. I washed down the river. That's why all the fish are dying down there. All my sins washed away. Right?
Don't drink the water.
Right. And I kind of looked at it like in a race. I'm looking at it oh, the checkered flag. Yay, I've arrived. But what it really is, it's the green flag. It's the process of sanctification begins now. Because I took my step towards Jesus in obedience. And he honored my really bad theology I had at 15 years old. I had bad theology. And as I was making a heartfelt step towards obedience and towards him, I learned, I grew. I say this all the time. 10 years ago when we started Village Church, I was a heretic. Corvallis Church, I was a heretic. I would say that now. If I look back, I go, boy, I was so wrong. And I hope that I grow as much as I have in the last 10 years, in the next 10 years, where I'll look back at me today and go, boy, was I wrong. Isn't that, because I can't contain all knowledge at one point. This is why Paul even says, hey, this is what I'm saying, but test it for yourself. So we're all growing. We all have mistakes. That's why I'm grateful for God's grace in the way he says, here's your ritual, here's your tradition, here's your law. I'm going to fulfill the heart behind that. And what that forces us to do as believers is to abandon this thought process of Christians are in and non-Christians are out. That's nowhere in the Bible. That we as Christians are the ones with the answers and everyone else is going to hell. That is that transactional approach to God, that I said the right thing and I was baptized the right way and now I'm going to heaven. That idea doesn't exist in Scripture. And that can scare some people because that's the foundation of a lot of people's tradition. But the idea that Jesus honors the heart desire we have to pursue God, and he serves us and heals us and restores us. And so if that's what we truly want, and we will see as we obey him that the fruit of obedience is the healing and restoration and the hope that we want. And it is bumpy along the way, and there can be suffering on the world. And there's a few stories in the Bible that just kind of hijack any type of extreme theology. It's the book of Job, right? And it's the thief on the cross. You can't make this about anything other than the sovereignty of God and the grace of God through Jesus Christ. And that's the only thing we can for sure say, okay, that's what we have. Now, I don't mean to shake anyone's faith, but if you abandon that transaction mindset of what it means to be a Christian and you start embracing a life of gracious obedience to an authoritative, benevolent God who is always for you, that starts the sanctification process where you're set free from the shackles of our resistance. And that's why, as a church, I think we need to be way more comfortable with people that think differently than we do. And not us, but in the United States, in the Western church, way more open to people who disagree. Because the church is never supposed to be about, you can only come here if. It's welcome. We're all on a journey together.